Hello and welcome to Season 10, Episode 4 of the Data Governance Podcast. And this is actually the third in the mini-series of 4 within this season that are all being sponsored by ER Studio. And we are exploring data products in depth. And this week, Jamie Knowles from ER Studio and Darren Lacy from Microsoft are joining me to discuss all things data product delivery, and I really hope you will enjoy this deep dive into what we actually mean when we mean data product delivery, and why do we need to care as data governance people. Today's episode is brought to you by ER Studio, the trusted name in data modeling. Just like building a home, managing data architecture is impossible without a blueprint. ER Studio is your guide to clarity, collaboration, and compliance. Built for data professionals, ER Studio provides the essential tools to visualize, document, and manage your enterprise data. Visit erstudio.com to learn more how ER Studio integrates all your source systems, ensures governance at every level, streamlines data sharing across your organization, and even automatically converts your logical data models into physical models. So, hello and welcome to the latest in the Data Governance Podcast. And I'm really thrilled that we're continuing the data product mini-series with ER Studio. This week again, Jamie's brought a friend. I'm really excited that Darren Lacy is joining us. Now, Darren is a data professional with over 20 years of experience across a whole range of different sectors. Now, Darren joined Microsoft in 2013, where he's done all sorts of things there. But more interestingly for now in our conversation is that you're currently leading the engineering for the Microsoft Purview data governance product. So it's lovely to meet you, Darren. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Nicola.
Welcome, Jamie. It's always good to have you here. I'm really enjoying our conversations on data products, and I'm sure everybody listening is as well. So Darren, for your benefit, we've Jamie and I have already kind of covered the basics for everybody or more Jamie, really. I get to ask the questions and he answers of what a data product is. And why people might want to do them. But what we wanted to really start doing in these episodes was delving into how we make it real, and want to start talking about data product delivery, although Jamie reliably tells me that's being called data product supply chain as well. And I think, I'm kind of not an expert in this at all. I'm a data governance geek, but I think this is all about where we get tools and teams working together as opposed to working in isolation, which I think perhaps pre-data products we did. It was always separate teams and they didn't really talk to each other. So really interesting, just to perhaps start us off, Darren, if you could share what is Purview doing to support this data product delivery?
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you, Nicola. So historically, Purview is a product that's been around and gone through a lot of evolutions over the years. And I think probably one of our most important learnings in the product over the last 3 to 5 years is the personas that we really need to focus on. I think originally we had a very heavy focus on data consumers like data engineers and report writers and things like this. And that's great. They need to find the data they need to build cool things for their companies in a data catalog. However, if you focus the data governance experience around the technical aspects of your data estate, you're missing a huge opportunity in the business. And so one of the big pivots that we've made in the latest version of Microsoft Purview Data Governance, and I say that to differentiate it from Azure Purview Data Governance, which is the old product. It's a very confusing thing. And anyone who wants to know, please ping me on LinkedIn and I'll help explain the difference so no one's confused. But the main pivot I'm speaking of here is a focus on business personas and the professionals at companies that actually manage the practice of data governance at their companies. And this is why we have this pivot to more of a data product and even probably more fundamentally domains that they organize their data estate to and how they think about and use data in their companies. So if you sign up for a trial of Purview Data Governance, you're going to see 2 hero concepts. The first one being governance domains. And this is sort of an overloaded term that means any way you think about organizing your data estate. It could be by your business departments. It could be by data subject areas. I'm a longtime data architect myself, and so love subject areas. Many companies that are very modeling specific think about it that way, but it can really be any way that you think about organizing your company from a federated ownership perspective. Then within that, the data products are the next hero concept that exists under the governance domains. And what that is not yet, at least in Purview, it's not yet a physical concept, the actual data that makes up your data estate. What it is, think of it like I need to accomplish something in this domain in my business. Perhaps it's order management or fraud detection or something like this. People start thinking about what are all the things that I need to know to effectively use the data that I'm eventually going to map into from the physical data estate into this domain of the business. And you organize that into this concept that we refer to as a data product. But it's people own the data product. They own assigning glossary terms to the data product, objectives and key results, many other business top-down concepts that really help you understand what is this data product all about. And then finally, you actually take the physical data that you use to deliver and manage that data product and attach it from the bottom. And then that's how you bridge the strategic and the practical from your data estate. And what we found is that by bridging it that way, you avoid a lot of the problems we had in past iterations of the product, where when I'm searching for what do I need to solve fraud detection at my company, well, God only knows, right? Because if the table name's not called fraud detection for finance, you may never find it. But if you have a data product called fraud detection in the finance governance domain, you'll find it in the first hit. And search relevance is incredibly important in a data catalog. And so by bridging those two, we found it's a great way to bridge, the business leadership around data at a company versus the people that build and manage the physical data at a company and bring them together in a data governance product.
That sounds brilliant. And that reminds me a lot and Jamie and I have talked in the past on a previous episode about how data products allow you to actually get those requirements and the governance all done up front. And I think you just talking through that was the perfect illustration about how that works. And it really means that you deliver what people need rather than what somebody on the back end is just probably trying to do with perhaps not the best requirements from the business user. But that sounds like perhaps the process guides them through it.
Mm-hmm. And I think the roles of having it's a business-driven initiative. So getting the subject matter experts in the right parts of the business, thinking about this right at the start. So it's not an IT-driven thing; it's a business-driven thing.
Yeah, well, being a data governance geek and thinking that should be about the business, it sounds great to me. So, Darren, with this approach of how building your data products, would that suit all companies?
Got it. Yes. So, in my opinion, yes. I think what we've learned is that many different companies operate and have different levels of maturity in their data governance initiatives at the company. So I think the challenge that we face is a lot of large, mature companies, especially in highly regulated industries. They already think this way because they have compliance requirements to solve and legal requirements to solve. And they already have a very mature way of thinking about it tops down in the business because, they can't survive without that. Companies who haven't been in that kind of a highly regulated situation, let's just say retail, for example, it's a little bit more Wild West, and it's like I have a marketing campaign to solve next week. The heck with privacy requirements. Let's just get it built and solve the problem. And I'm picking on retail a little bit. I've been in retail as well, so I know how it goes. But that being said, companies come at it from different angles. But I think even with companies who don't have that tops down approach, it's a very effective approach because if you ask them sort of in a private moment where they can reflect, even the most Wild West of companies who are tech driven will admit it's hard to find the right thing. I don't know what my data quality is when I'm using this data until it's maybe too late. And they have all the same problems. They just have ignored them for longer. And so I think, you have to navigate the journey differently with companies who are less mature. But eventually, our experience has shown that as long as you walk them through that journey, they will see the benefit of the top-down approach too. And then it's a matter of bringing along their business partners who have previously been letting IT run wild, and then they come together like other companies. So it's just a matter of how you navigate the journey to demonstrate the value.
Excellent. So yeah, and like I say, that makes a lot of sense. And I think perhaps my experience echoes yours, whereas perhaps the regulated sectors, well, they are ahead with data governance because they've had to do it. And I think lots of other sectors are seeing the value on it, but perhaps data products is the thing that will give them the structure to, as you say, be able to perhaps move forwards with it. So that sounds really interesting. So I think
Yeah. And one other thing I
oh,
would
sorry.
add real quick, if I could,
Yeah.
is that data governance historically has been seen of like, it's almost like the cartoons where you've got the teams of managers trying to block access to things. And that's not what modern data governance is about. It's not about keeping you from getting into something you need. It's about making sure you can find the things you need and then use them responsibly. And so modern data governance, as soon as you start taking the customers, that are sort of the bottoms up customers through that and saying, look, I'm trying to help you go even faster. Then they're like, oh, cool. I'm your friend now too. It's all good. So
I love that. That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, we're hampered by a really bad role title, really, with governance. It should be data enablement, shouldn't it, or something like that.
yes,
That is
love
what
it.
we do. So, and I
Yes.
know some of my clients have renamed their teams that. That's working quite well for them. So I don't want to leave Jamie out of the conversation. And I know, obviously, Jamie is a huge advocate for data architecture and the value it adds to everything. And we've spoken in the previous podcast season about how data architects and data governance work well together. But so Jamie, do you want to dive in and say, I love this process that Darren shared. How did data architects support that?
Yeah, well, so I think in Purview we've got our subject matter experts, the business people, sort of really working in that tool. So we've broken the organization into domains, and we've got the subject matter experts now thinking about two things: the information that this domain cares about, so building the business glossary for that domain, and then there's the products that this domain is going to provide to the rest of the organization. So this is where the data architects can help. So there's that sort of, first of all, the design process. So we can help with designing the data products. So that's what we do. We take those sort of fairly woolly requirements and then harden them up. On the glossary side of things, we can also help. So again, it's what we do. We work with subject matter experts to understand what is the information you care about, and we create sort of nice structured models from that. So with tools like EL Studio, we can go through that modeling process, and we can even harvest business terms from those models and push those over to Purview to kind of seed the glossaries. So we can really sort of kickstart that process and get you sort of creating value in Purview much quicker, creating the business glossaries. And then we using that information to then sort of go through the design process for the data products. And again, I think in the last few episodes, we've talked a lot about standardization and consistency. So great. As we're designing those data products, we want to have consistency of language, of definitions. So when we're talking about customer, then we've got a common definition for it. We understand how we identify one of those things. We understand all the pieces, and we can then use those architectural patterns to, as we're designing the products, and get consistency within the domain and across the domains. And
Yeah.
then it gets very exciting. The tools work together. So this is
Ah,
where Studio can then publish all of those models back to Purview, and we've got a nice sort of well-defined model against the data product. So effectively, we're sort of creating a contract for that product. So here is what is contained in this data product. And as Dan was saying, we're then attaching all the sort of policies and rules and requirements for that product and its usage.
so you're actually linking the two products together to almost give you this complete picture.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, these discussions, I think we've been talking sort of generally about data architecture. I think every data product team should be connecting to your data architects. Use whatever data modeling tool is out there. Great. The benefits of EL Studio is we've got these really nice tight links into Purview. So the two tools are sort of fully integrated. It's not just an import from one to the other. We've actually integrated them to support this process that we're talking through.
Excellent. So I'm going to just throw a curveball to finish up and ask a question that I didn't warn Darren about in advance. So I'm sorry about that. It's just something that just occurred to me. So I've spoken to rather a lot of organizations over the years who are Microsoft shops. So therefore, they've either been given Purview as a freebie or got it as a good deal, but they didn't really perhaps do the research and choose it. But so if some of my listeners have got Purview and they're really liking the sounds of these data products, you and Jamie have got them really excited about them, what should they do to get started? What's the best thing to do?
Yeah, a couple things I would say. First of all, make sure that you are looking at the Microsoft Purview data governance product and not the old product. Because if you look at the old one and listen to this podcast, you'll be very confused. So again, that's super important, and and it's Microsoft. One of the reasons that customers choose Microsoft is because we don't hop in and out of enterprise investments quickly. And so even though we've built a new product, the old one is still there, and we're working with our customers to navigate that journey. So number one, make sure you're looking at the new product. And the best way to do that too is to actually go to our YouTube channel. We have a brilliant set of videos where you can walk through live demos. I can provide you the link after the podcast, and maybe you can include that, because then customers can see step by step everything we've talked about today without even having to get physical access to the product, which will hopefully make them want to get access to the new product and jump in. The other thing I would say is, we're one of the things we're working on this semester is making sure that we have an improved free trial process for the product that will not only get you access to it like you can today, but will actually get you immediate access to all the enterprise features, not sort of a pared down version of it. I think we found that customers, when they want to kick the tires, they want to kick all four of them, not just two of them. And so we're working through solving that. But just contact Microsoft via the Azure portal, and you can sign up for the trial and use it. And hopefully you love it as much as we love building it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I feel like I've made yet another data friend on this podcast, and always love talking to Jamie. It's been really great conversation. Is there any last pieces of advice you wanted to leave my listeners with, either of you?
I'll go first, and then Jamie, you can close this out. So I would say data governance is, embrace it for the exciting opportunity is. It's not your grandparents' data governance. It's a great opportunity in a company. And I would say not just for data, but also for the AI investments that your company is hopefully making, because not only are increasingly, we like to call our product, the data governance product for the age of AI. And that means two things. It means that we are increasingly bringing more and more AI into the product to help the humans that govern data in their companies be more effective. It's not going to take over data governance anytime soon. But we want to help make you more efficient. And then just as important, I was reading like 3 articles this morning that all talked about the point that at the core of AI are the same challenges we have with any type of investment in data. Without data quality, without responsible use of the data, you put that investment hugely at risk. And most companies out there are not trying to build the next open AI model. They're doing things that are tailored to their companies that are much like what they've done historically in data warehousing. It's just a different tech stack and a different use case. And so data quality and the things that we help enforce in our product are just as valuable to AI investments at a company as data warehousing or other types of data products might be. So, I hope that as companies make these investments, they realize the opportunity that a product like Purview Data Governance can help them with all of their data investments and make sure they get the most value out of them.
Excellent. Thank you, Darren. That's really good. Jamie, any final words of wisdom?
Yeah, I think as we've said before, make sure your data product delivery process, your data product supply chain is business driven, and think about how you're going to achieve that consistency across your products and domains, and think about how your data architects can help you.
Excellent. Yep. Always a vote. Well, Darren's going to vote for that as well, since he's been a data architect and I've been a data governance person who has been known to go and find the data architects team and tell them that I'm their new best friend. So we're all in agreement. So thank you so much, both of you. It's been great talking to you. And I think there's some really good practical advice there for people who want to start embracing data products. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
So I hope you enjoyed that conversation about data products with Jamie and Darren. I certainly did. I hope you'll join me next week when we're going to do the final in this mini series all about data products. And next week, Jamie will be back again. And this time we're going to be joined by Dr. Hans Lux, who is a really clever chap on all things data and analytics. And we're going to have a little bit of a chat about data warehousing and how does data products fit in with this. So I am really looking forward to this conversation. I hope you'll join me for it next week.